Patrons, what's going on? Kind of a busy news day, but I wanted to stop and speak to you all first before I recorded the full podcast today. A lot of things I'm going to cover on today's show, including Bernie Sanders' corporate socialism speech, um, whatever the hell corporate socialism is, capitalism. I'm also going to cover the police shooting in Memphis. I thought about driving up to Memphis, but I probably won't. I probably just let it do what it's going to do and track it from down here. Also, this really hard push from I'm going to tie this in with the Bernie Sanders story. This hard push from Democrats um, to make socialism a bad word. And then also Kellyanne Conway, she's been found to have violated the Hatch Act on several occasions, so I might discuss that a little bit. But what I wanted to talk to you all about is a little combination of everything that I've been talking about this week, in addition to, I want to add in the conversation of anti-vaxxers. I hope none of you are anti-vaxxers. If you are, I'm sure this is going to cause us to fall out, and you'll probably stop being a patron. I don't know how windy it sounds to you, so let me go inside, because it's really windy out here. But not to attack anti-vaxxers as much as, honestly, to attack them. Because here's the thing. Let me get the lighting better. Okay, here's the thing. I've talked about this before. Like, the internet has been a blessing and a cursing, right? The internet has introduced the democratization of information. The democratization of information as well as media and the dissemination of that information. And anytime you democratize something, you get additional access, but what comes with that access is a reduction in the overall quality of access. As much as we hate gatekeepers, if gatekeepers are operating properly, then they help prevent misinformation. Well, the problem is that historically, gatekeepers never operate properly forever. Eventually, you get corruption, and you have the need for a revolution. And we've seen that take place. I know I'm going a very long way around to get to my point, but you guys know how I do it by now. Let me fix this color on my skin. So when you have corruption with gatekeepers, it's time for a revolution, and you have the democratization of anything, right? The democratization of media, the democratization of a country, the democratization of whatever. Democratization isn't just a political concept. So with the internet, the democratization of information, we've seen the growth both in access to knowledge and the ability to organize and to continue pushing and building a revolution, which is a good thing. But then you also see this dissemination of misinformation, intentional dissemination of misinformation, some for political purposes and others for, I don't know. I don't know what drives the anti-vaxxer movement. And the only reason that's in the news today is because Jessica Biel came out with Robert Kennedy Jr. as an anti-vaxxer. And, for the most part, it's like to each his own, except for the fact that we're talking about public health. And we're talking about diseases that we all but eradicated coming back because we're supposed to respect the feelings of and the beliefs of anti-vaxxers. What I want to tie that in with is what I talk about in general is how we approach this post-factual, post-truth America where for every piece of truth that we could put out, you'll find disinformation, you'll find lies. And particularly from a progressive perspective, we always handle people, generally we handle things and situations with kid gloves. We are expected to. I'm checking out all the wasps. I got to get rid of them before they fuck me up. We're expected to handle it with kid gloves, and then sometimes we're expected to ignore it. Sometimes we're expected to just, we think more highly. I don't know what it is, what the thought process is for ignoring misinformation and propaganda, but that seems to be several expectations. Sometimes we look at misinformation and propaganda and we think it's so ridiculous that we should leave it alone. This is what I talked about on Tuesday, that we should just ignore it and leave it alone. But at the same time, when you don't address it, it festers, it grows, and it becomes a cancer, and it gets out of control, and you have entire movements that are immobilized because there was no pushback against it. And so on the progressive side of the equation, we have these weird expectations of we have to be nice, or we're so smart that we have to ignore these things, or we just have to respect each other's beliefs. And to a certain extent, I'm like, nah, not anymore. We can't. We're in a society where we have the resurgence of measles, outbreaks of measles. What's next? We're gonna have polio come back, all because we have to respect we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We don't want to insult anyone. We don't want to, and I know my language right now is borderline sounding like what classical liberals like to say. But and what people like Ben Shapiro like to say, what's crazy about this is that this attitude of rejecting. I'm gonna piece this together right. This disposition and this general attitude of we are going to say whatever we have to say, and the facts don't care about your feelings, and we're gonna say it because it's the truth. That disposition has been co-opted by people who are lying and people who are distorting the truth, people who are not giving context, and people who are intentionally trying to undermine progress. But they have the persona in the public space as being the intellectual revolutionaries who are going to say whatever I got to say, even if it hurts your feelings. And they're doing it on behalf of idiocy. Now, I'm not saying that like Ben Shapiro and them are anti-vaxxers. I'm saying this generalized problem of misinformation, this generalized problem of half-truths and distortion of knowledge for whatever purposes, whether it be political, whether it be emotional, whether it be, I don't know what drives all these movements, but there's a generalized problem there that I know the answer lies in progressives kicking some fucking ass, man. We gotta kick ass. We have to not be afraid of being assholes, not be afraid of being the jerks. And I don't mean the sarcastic kind of, humor. I mean, no, literally not caring about hurting people's feelings when it's something that's destructive. I'm a very caring person, and I am very empathetic, and I really have a genuine love. You guys know this. I have like a deeply rooted love for humanity. I hate to see people's feelings hurt. I hate to hurt people, but there's some shit popping off. I mean, take for instance, like here's where this disinformation really, here's where anti-vaxxers really remind me of conservatives. It's the denial of science and climate change. Like, we don't have long. I mean, we really do not have long to play these games. We're out of time. And so we have this in so many different areas. We have empowered, not we, but the democratization of information, the internet, new media has empowered so many false and fallacious ideas and movements that are so destructive, and we as progressives are still trying to figure out how to handle it and not come off like assholes or not come off as smug, and the people who are, they have monetized their assholery. I'm making up a word, right? They've monetized. Look at Jordan Peterson. Look at Ben Shapiro. Look at the alt-right. Look at not the alt-right, but look at the free speech absolutists. Facts don't care about your feelings, and just because you're offended by what I say doesn't mean I shouldn't say it. That entire movement has been co-opted. They are the ones who have co-opted this righteous indignation for them to be able to say whatever they want to say or whatever they believe they should say for their movement. But they're doing it on the side of idiocy. They're doing it on the side of climate change denial. They're doing it on the side of white supremacy, yeah. And then we also see it. They're doing it on the side of anti-vaxxing. They're doing. I mean, there's just so many different movements. I mean, I look at the ADOS movement in the black community. Like there's the conspiracy theory movements in all of our communities. Like the people with the most gall, the people with the most hubris are the ones that are wrong. I guess I could have summarized the whole video right there. The people with the most hubris and gall and backbone and have an indignant disposition towards their opposition are wrong. So, I mean, you guys got to forgive me if I go a little bit harder and say some things that are very, very offensive to groups. Like, I don't really have any other time. I don't have a lot of words to describe it. Strike that. I have plenty of words to describe how I'm feeling. But sometimes we just have to tell people, you're just dumb as fuck. You know, excuse my language, but to you, the audience, to you, my patrons. But sometimes we're going to have to tell them. Like, somebody commented on a video yesterday, there's one or two choices with some of this. You're either lying or you're an idiot. Which one? And sometimes I think we're going to have to just cut to that chase because we're dealing with issues that are so critical that we don't have time. God, we don't have time for political correctness. We don't have time for being concerned. And when I say political correctness, I don't mean saying things that are going to hurt people because of their identity. Like, that's the thing. It's like, for them, political correctness only matters if it's something that I say about your identity to hurt you personally. Whereas we as liberals, we really are politically correct because we really try to find a way to be smart about every situation instead of just telling someone who's denying climate change that you're just an idiot. You're just a liar or an idiot. I mean, we have to take the language. We have to take the language of being indignant about the idiocy that is surrounding us. We have to take that disposition to look at people and say, I don't really care about your feelings. These are what the facts say. And this is not to try to steal Ben Shapiro's line, but this is to say Ben Shapiro has been using that line to lie and to spread misinformation and propaganda. So we sure as hell should be able to take that disposition for the truth. And this is probably could be summarized by saying this is how we weaponize the truth. They've been weaponizing lies. This is how this is just one of the ways that we weaponize the truth. We dispense, we get rid of trying to be what people expect of progressives. And just be hardcore, man. Just be hardcore. Take no prisoners. Take no prisoners. Fuck it, who cares what they say? Oh, you're a socialist. Yeah, damn right, I am a socialist. Oh, you're the intolerant left. I have no tolerance for stupidity, no tolerance for people who deny science, no tolerance for bigotry. No, so if that's the case, yeah, I'm very intolerant. Fuck you and your feelings. So, but for the sake of my mom and my pastor, I probably won't say that publicly. So don't share this video. I'll say all that without the F word. All right. I'll see you guys on the podcast today.